Hello, Papa.
What?
What the hell?
Finish him!
Hell are you?
Pennywise wins.
Fatality.
Alright guys, I think it's time for me to say it. Stop listening to people telling you that the show is good. Welcome to Derry is not a good show. Welcome to Derry is a spectacular show. But before we get into this, if you like what you see, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe. We're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers. But yeah, this show has definitely got me invested back into the It franchise, man. I was really anticipating this show. A lot of people were. Like, prior to this show coming out, I don't think we've gotten any It related content since like 2019 when It Chapter 2 came out, which I did not like that movie for a variety of reasons. To be honest, looking back, I remember there being like a huge focus on humor instead of like making the movie genuinely scary. Like, don't get me wrong, there were a couple of decent scenes in there, like the stadium scene, the Hall of Mirrors where Pennywise was playing mind games, and then Beverly going to the apartment with the old lady, but it just didn't really hit the same. In fact, Pennywise, to be honest, as good of a performance that Bill put up in the movie, he just didn't really feel scary at all, which I am happy to say is not a thing in Welcome to Derry, because they made it clear right off the bat that this is Pennywise's show. This is his town, this is his domain. The first thing I have to say that I really liked about the show is that they didn't just show Pennywise at the start of the show. They actually built up to it by having him like take the form of other monsters and creatures over time. As soon as we saw a pregnant woman pushing a mutilated fucking baby out of her stomach live in the first episode without any censoring whatsoever, I already knew what time it was. Well, actually, I guess I didn't, because they surprised me again by introducing me to a group of characters that I thought was going to be the main cast, with them getting me to invest in them and everything, only to pull a Suicide Squad and have Pennywise kill off most of them within the first episode. Then we get to episode 2, and as soon as I think it can't get any worse, Pennywise is like, hey, you thought that pregnancy from episode 1 was insane? Well, I got something else for your ass. We had to see Ronnie almost drown inside of a womb, watch her crawl out the motherfucker. Her whole body's just covered in guts, and there's just blood and body parts everywhere. Then we find out she still has the umbilical cord connected to her, and the mother just starts pulling on her, and Ronnie has to bite off the umbilical cord to set herself free. Oh, but that's not it. Because then after that, the mother with her stomach being fucking torn open gets up and mummy walks towards Ronnie. See, it's shit like this that makes me think bro was going easy on the Losers Club, to be honest. Because where the fuck was any of this shit in the movies? I have no clue when Pennywise started using cleavers to kill people. Don't really know why he would even bother using one, but I don't care. I'm here for it, because that shit was pure R farm. I also really like how they made it clear that Pennywise preys on all forms of hatred and fear, which includes racism. And they are not subtle about that at all, which you could imagine triggered quite a few folks on the internet. Well, let them be triggered, because it's facts. Pennywise feeds off of violence and hatred. Hell, he even encourages it. The show seems to imply that he poisoned the water supply in some way to amplify the violent tendencies in all of the adult residents there. It's the main reason why everyone seems to be strangely oblivious and I guess in a way complicit with kids beating up each other all the time and people constantly disappearing every day, which is wild. But again, it makes sense, especially when he kidnaps a whole school of kids near the end of the show. And the worst part is, Pennywise literally started out as a random dude just wanting to entertain people and provide a living for him and his daughter. Then the entity saw him perform and realized how useful his clown form would be for attracting children, and then it ate him. Damn. How this show managed to make me feel bad for a clown that ends up abducting and cannibalizing children is beyond crazy to me. Gotta give the show props for that. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about some of the characters. My favorite character other than Pennywise by far is Halloran. He kind of confused me at first with what his actual role in the story was. They alluded to him having special privileges in the military assignment to try and find Pennywise. Then I come to find out that he has telepathy and some sort of clairvoyance and paranormal detection. So apparently he's one of the central characters from another one of Stephen King's works called The Shining. Now, I've never seen The Shining, but I have seen tons of other shows and movies reference it though. Like the only reason I vaguely know about it is because Ready Player One referenced it, and that's like one of my favorite movies of all time. However, it is needed because he can use his shine powers to track Pennywise. But as the show progresses and we see more of what Pennywise is capable of, like he even comes face to face with him, it even gets to a point where even he's spooked out. Like the general is trying to bribe him with all these special privileges and so forth, and Harold is just like, man, why can't we just let this thing be? Why do we have to chase it? What does the military want? Why do they constantly want to mess with things they don't understand? It's one thing if their goal is to actually stop Pennywise and that's why they're following it, but that wasn't even the main goal. Their main goal was to weaponize it, which on the surface level is fucking stupid. Rose points this out to the general, like, you really want to do this? Like, do you really think you could control something like that? But on a meta level, it makes perfect sense because that is exactly something that the government would do. That's very much something they would do. Pennywise is power. He possesses powerful abilities, the ability to project fear. And when you hear Francis go on his like insane delusional rant about how the government can use that fear to control people, it's deranged. It's absolutely unhinged, but it makes sense. Of course, you have the cast of kids in the form of Lily, Marge, Will, Richie, and Ronnie. And then you have the parents of Will being Leroy and Charlotte. Apparently, Leroy was in one of the movies and he was way older, so I kind of already knew he was going to survive this. He had some pretty wild moments though. I really like how they exhibit his intelligence with the whole Air Force attack situation, where guys in mass attack him in his sleep, and where you would think one of the culprits is the racist piece of shit who hated him from the start. He uses his deductive reasoning and military knowledge to put together that it actually wasn't him. It's also crazy that Pennywise almost tricked him into killing his own son in the sewer, to the point where his friend has to jump in and take the bullet and end up dying because of it. Pennywise was on demon time in the show, man. Goddamn. Then you have Charlotte, who was a civil rights activist. Makes sense. This takes place in the 60s where racism was fucking rampant. Even more so given that it was amplified by Pennywise. They also did a really good job showing that as well. You have the obvious extremes, of course, being the corrupt officers who put black people in jail, like Ronnie's dad Hank, without any evidence of him committing the crime. Then there's the extreme KKK members who burn and kill brothers, which we saw in the Black Spot. That whole scene was absolutely crazy and horrifying to watch. My homeboy Richie died protecting Marge in that scene. Rip to the goat. Then there's the citizens who act nice in your face, only to be a completely racist and abusive piece of shit behind the scenes, like we saw with Stan Kirsch and Charlie at the butcher house. It's so funny. He actually had me fooled there for a minute too. He was being all nice and saying how it was nice to see some variety in the area, but behind closed doors, racist and abusive asshole. Wow, I wonder what that could be a metaphor to. Probably why the wife ended up cheating on him. Speaking of, we gotta talk about Ingrid. Smash. Next question. Alright, but for real though. So Ingrid is an interesting character for me, mainly because of how she was portrayed as this innocent counselor that's helping Lily with her mental problems, like she has no clue what's going on. Then we find out she's connected to Pennywise and she has all sorts of mental issues as his daughter. Like how the fuck are you gonna see Pennywise cannibalize a whole child in front of you and still claim that as your dad? Man, love works in mysterious ways. She even got her own clown costume to complete the set. But the fact that she did all of that and still got capped by Pennywise at the end was a good way to show the dangers of blind loyalty and Stockholm syndrome. Now, people seem to question why Pennywise didn't eat her there, and to be honest, I can't really give you a direct answer to that. Fans keep saying that she wasn't fearful and that's why he lets her live, but the issue with that is that we know Pennywise doesn't need fear to kill people. Like, we've seen him kill people for far less, especially in It Chapter 2. But I think the real reason to this question is a combination of a few things. Pennywise had just feasted on a whole bunch of people, so the guy was essentially full, combined with the fact that Ingrid just didn't really pose a threat to him. And of course, there were some feelings deep down due to the entity taking his form, so there was probably some part of him that was attached to some degree. So he just ended up floating her and leaving her to suffer in the mental asylum. Although, with that being said, there were a few parts of this that didn't really make sense though. For example, the scene we get with Pennywise and Will. As cool as that scene was with Pennywise just showing up out of the blue in person, what didn't make sense to me is why Pennywise didn't just eat him right there. Like, Will was obviously afraid when he showed up there, and it's revealed later that Pennywise can see all of time at once. He knows everything that happens, which means he knows that Will brings a child into the world that ends up bringing about his death. So knowing this, he has the kid in isolation and he has him afraid. Pennywise knows that he in some way contributes to his death in the future, so why not just stop him from having kids right there instead of kidnapping him? He even tries to do this with Marge before being stopped by Halloran. Now, the explanation that I've seen for this is that he wanted to use him to lure out the kid, which I could buy this explanation if it weren't for the fact that he was already leaving town prior to the group confronting him. It really wouldn't have made a difference if they came to confront him or not, because he essentially already got what he wanted, so why not just kill him right there? There were also a few moments of like insane plot convenience that almost took me out of it, like the fact that Pennywise just let Lily live in the theater instead of killing her. Don't know why, because there was literally nothing stopping him. Also, the dagger just kind of happened to be at a certain spot where Lily was, and it literally saved her life. One thing I can't really defend at all though was the graveyard sequence. I love the show, but that shit was garbage. The CGI was looking like it came straight out of a Ghostbusters movie, and for some reason, once again, the entity has Will alone and afraid and doesn't kill him. I'm not talking about Ingrid. I know she was there in the clown costume, but Pennywise is literally the one who summoned the ghost to torment them, and he has Will alone and doesn't kill him. So yeah, just a few things that didn't really make sense to me. Overall, the show is pretty fantastic, man. My personal rating for the show would probably be like an 8 out of 10. It's a really great show. The character writing is on point. The visuals most of the time were solid. Pennywise is scary as hell, probably scarier than we've ever seen in the last 2 movies. And the plot was fine for the most part, save for a few moments. But yeah, the show was pretty solid. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. If you like what you see, be sure to like the video, share, comment on the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.